2025 was a stacked year for video games. I mean, the Nintendo Switch 2 came out, and with it brought Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, but then games like Sonic Racing Crossroads came out, Kirby Air Riders came out, Hollow Knight Silk Song came out, Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4, it's so much, and that's just in the like Nintendo and indie space that I like to occupy. That's not talking about games like Clair Obscur and Doom the Dark Ages. It was just a good year for video games last year, but standing tall among them, to me, is one that I did just mention, Kirby Air Riders. The game I genuinely think is my favorite game and arguably one of the best games of 2025. I wanted to make this review when the game came out, but I was a little busy around when that game came out, so I couldn't really do that. But hey, our schedules are kind of back to normal, everything should be up and running again, and I wanted to make my damn review of Kirby Air Riders, so here we goddamn are. Is this a review? Is this me gushing about the game? Who can say? Cards on the table, Kirby Air Ride was one of my favorite games on the GameCube, and my GameCube was one of my favorite games of all time as a kid. So I already adored the format, and this is the format but more and better. So walking into it, I was excited for it. I was so goddamn excited for Kirby Air Riders. I played the demo, I played the test, I was ready for it, it came out, and I played it for weeks, but I still play it very frequently. So like, what's the deal? What is the deal with Kirby Air Riders? The first thing to note is that the game is deceptively simple. At the end of the day, the game's director, Sakurai, had a moment where he said, sorry, I complicated the game. It used to just be a joystick and the A button. Now it's a joystick, the A button, and a second button. Sorry, everyone. So like you look at it, it's like, okay, it's a game that you play with one joystick and one button. How complex could it be? Well, immensely. The way the basic gameplay works is that you're a Kirby character on a vehicle. You're always moving, but you can hold down the A button. When you do this, you begin to charge up a boost on most cars. Some cars don't charge at all, just one car doesn't charge at all, and you begin to slow down. When you release A, that turns into a charge boost. But if you're already in motion when you start doing that, it works as a sort of drift, where you can slow down when taking a turn and re-aim to then keep going. That sounds all straightforward enough, but like I said, it's deceptively simple. Some vehicles stop on a dime. Some vehicles don't stop at all and you have to readjust while you're moving. Some vehicles stop fully, turn, and then release. There are so many different ways to play this game based on the vehicles you pick. But that's just the controls. The races here are different than any other kart racer you can find. It's been better described that Kirby Air Ride as a formula is closer to a fighting game on a racetrack than it is a racing game. And the key here is that it's a fighting game that never really feels bad. What do I mean by this? So look at an average race. People are getting hit left and right, you're hitting other people left and right, and in many kart racers, this would feel really goddamn bad. I mean, look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, not Mario Kart World. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Because in that game, items were really punishing. A lot of items would take you to a full stop, and sometimes your character would complain for a moment before continuing to drive. It felt bad to get hit in this game. It's why Baby Park worked on the GameCube and would work in Mario Kart World, but doesn't really work in 8 Deluxe. Because in both Double Dash and World, getting hit isn't as punishing. You tumble a little bit, it interrupts what you were doing, but you keep going from where you left off. Sometimes you even get a small boost as you're getting hit, depending on the momentum you get hit on. But 8 Deluxe was the punishing one. So how does Kirby Air Ride do this? Well, for one, it isn't as punishing like those two other games. But there is two caveats to that. One of those caveats is that at times, depending on the settings and what game you're playing on, you have a health bar. Now in Air Ride, the main game mode of the game, this often isn't really a problem. You're not getting hit that much, and most air rides I don't even think you can wipe out in, but you still can opt into the health bar, which is a fun side effect. But the second caveat is, while it isn't punishing to get hit, it's incredibly rewarding to hit somebody else. Watch this gameplay again. When I hit this guy, notice what happens above me. I get a couple stars, they get sent to me, I get a small boost. Let's talk about how stars work in Kirby Air Riders. Now this is, I believe, a newer concept. Something somewhat similar happened with hitting in the original, but they really cemented it down and made it better in this version of the game. When people are driving, they leave a small trail of stars. You can drive onto them, pick them up, and it speeds you up. It's your basic drafting that most kart racers have. But where Kirby Air Riders differ is that hitting other players doesn't slow them down all that much. It does mess with them a little bit, but what it does more than anything is give you a boost. It's less like you're stopping other players from moving so you get to catch up, and it's more like you're grabbing onto the cars of other players and crawling your way through the ranking to get to the front, which is just a more satisfying way to play. Ask yourself what feels better in both ways. If you're hitting somebody, they slow down and you speed past, fine. If you hit somebody and you speed up a lot, cool, that feels good. If you get hit and you come to a standstill, people pass you, and then you keep going, that kind of sucks. But if you get hit and see someone zoom past you, that makes a lot more sense. It's just a good formula for a kart racer. And all of this is just to talk about the basic gameplay. We gotta talk about what they've added to this. The new characters that you can play as that all have individual stats and individual special attacks, which is what that new button I was talking about is for. It's where we get my guy Rick. Look at this motherfucker run. He's so funny. He's so fast. He's so fun to play. I love this dumbass hamster. And it just diversifies it in a really fitting way, which is good because both the races and City Trial have more players to them. So giving more options is always good. But what of the game modes themselves? Well, I'm gonna go in like least care about to most care about order, starting with Top Ride. Look, I was never a big fan of Top Ride. I think most people play it out of obligation to unlock stuff. I don't to this day know who Top Ride is for. It's like a fun arcade mode. I'm glad it's here. Like, if this is the definitive Kirby Air Ride experience, it should be here. But like, it's still kind of boring. I do like the one change that they made that I've noticed that I really enjoy is that you can actually bring the different vehicles into Top Ride. In the original Kirby Air Ride, all you could play was essentially a glorified, do you want to point in the direction to go or steer left and right car. The stats were exactly the same. Now you can bring any car and change the way you play on that car, which just feels better, and then you can have more customization, which is always good. But up next is Air Ride. Now I know I said this is the main game mode, why is it third to last? I love Air Ride. I love all these game modes, really a lot. Like that's just where we're at. Air Ride, as always, it's snappy and fun. But the thing I'm really happy about Air Ride, and this is my nostalgia talking, is they didn't just give us like 10 new tracks and call it a day. They gave us the new tracks and full remasters of all the old tracks, which is just so nice to make this like the definitive way to experience Kirby Air Ride. And they all look gorgeous. They are criminally beautiful tracks. Look at some of this scenery. It's crazy, but it feels good to play on. They're just as chaotic as they need to be for a game like this. I will admit, this game is very ADHD, and that's part of the reason why I love it. I totally get if this game is too overstimulating for you, but it's just the right amount for me. And something that I'm not really super qualified to touch on because I haven't explored it that much is the customization of it all. You can customize every little bit of this game. Sure, we already talked about like the visual customization. Like there's different characters, you can give them hats, you can change your cars in a bunch of ways, but just the settings alone, like look at the settings for Air Rider. You can make these games play so many different ways just to have fun with it. And that's just a really good thing to make your game more fun and replayable. But talking about probably the least replayable part about this game, but I still adore it, we got to talk about Road Trip. Road Trip is your like primo single player experience for Kirby Air Riders, where you get the story, and it's almost like a mini roguelike where you get presented 3 options. You can do a different challenge for a different item pickup, and along the way you unlock cars, and you kind of do this whole long story, and by the end of it you've accumulated so many pickups that you get to defeat bosses and you win. I really like this game mode. I think it's really fun. I do think it can get a little repetitive, and one of the problems with it, it's not randomized. Now part of me gets it to a point, because there's unlockables based on how many different things you've done in this game mode. But at the same time, like, I feel like once you beat it, there should be a toggle for like randomized challenges. Because as it stands, once you play it like 2 or 3 times, you've literally played it all, and it's going to be the exact same way every time. Like, I guess you can pick a different order of options, but you're still generally doing the same playthrough, which does make it not as fun on your like 4th playthrough. But hey, that's 3 playthroughs at least. But okay, I've waited long enough. I gotta talk about the reason why we're here. It's motherfucking City Trial, baby. Look, I know that like the main game is Air Ride and like people are here for the story mode. I think all of us are in agreement that City Trial is the shit. You get 5 minutes. Pick up as much shit as you can, and then get put into a random minigame. Fuck you. What a good fucking formula for a game. Oh man, all I want to do is play City Trial online. Oh man, and the fact that there's 16 players, so there's more players to play with. City Trial's back, it's bigger, it's better, there's more to do, there's secret islands, there's silly buildable cars again, because look, yes, we've got your Dragoon and your Hydra, but now there's a Tiger for some reason. But the real reason the real one that's really fun is they added the Destroyer. And if you build it, it's life size. And not only are you now this menace, but the whole minigame shifts to now it's versus Destroyer, and everyone has to fight you, and you're piloting it. That's so cool. That's such a fun thing to do. Look, this game was made for me. I love this game. I love Kirby. I've loved Kirby Air Ride. Kart racers are one of my favorite genres of games. The more I play them, dude, the more kart racers are like maybe my favorite kind of game. I don't know. I just love a kart racer. And this is such a fun and unique kart racer in a franchise that I adore. This is my game of 2025, and it's by far my favorite Switch 2 game so far. I adore Kirby Air Riders. I'm a little disheartened that he basically said we're never making this game again, enjoy. But hey, at least it was definitively the best version of the game we could have ever gotten. And I guess I'm just gonna go play more City Trial. Until next time, you've been watching RyeTwost. Of all the YouTube channels, it's the second one. Stay toasty, slices.